next featured speaker is the great American writer, Mark Twain.
I want all of you to know that again this year, I was not chosen to sing. I auditioned. I was turned down flat. But having heard Mr. Lytell, I think I can understand. Now I'm going to begin my remarks in a little bit different manner. Just the presence of my wife, Olivia. Is there anyone in this room currently married to me? You don't seem too happy about it. Well, thank you. Olivia is of the opinion that I was overly critical of certain people last year at this event. So I'll begin by apologizing to some of those people. If you're a lawyer, I'm sorry. If you're a doctor, I'm very sorry. If you're a politician, you should be sorry. Now, I've always believed, and I believe today, that politicians and diapers should be changed often, and for the same reason. Now, because I work as a newspaper reporter, and I covered Congress for a while, I'm often asked, what's it like to be a congressman? I thought of a way to get at that question. First, imagine you are a congressman. Now imagine you are an idiot. Well, I've repeated myself. 4th of July is the day we dance on the bones of old King George III. To me, it's the most important of our holidays, but it's also the most dangerous. Over the holiday, people will be shot, burned to death, and blown up. I urge caution. One of these tragedies touched my family. My uncle, my beloved uncle, on the 4th of July, was so full of patriotism. He opened his mouth to hurrah, and a rocket went right down his throat. Now I'm short an uncle, and I have no hope of replacing him. Now, last year at this event, George Washington was not mentioned. And I thought tonight it would fall on me to do that. When I was about 8 years old, on an extremely hot day in Hannibal, I remember a farmer pulled his horse-drawn cart through our little village, full of the most beautiful watermelons I had ever seen. Now, I wanted a watermelon, but they were 2 cents each, and I didn't have any money. I waited until the farmer was busy talking to a customer, and I went behind the cart, grabbed a watermelon, and went over behind the lumberyard to enjoy it. But when I broke it open, I realized it's a green watermelon. I was immediately sorry that I had stolen that kind of a watermelon. I didn't know what I should do. What's the right thing to do? Well, my mother always told me, when you're not sure what to do, think about George Washington. What would George Washington do? And there was the answer. George Washington would seek restitution. I gathered up the watermelon, what was left of it. I took it back out and put it on the farmer's cart. And then I walked around to talk to him. And when I stood in front of him, I said, "How dare you sell that kind of a watermelon to the unsuspecting public? We don't know which ones are bad. That's your business." Well, you know, that man stopped to think about what I said. And pretty soon he said, "You're right. I'll never sell another green watermelon as long as I live if I have to starve for it." Now you all see what I did. I was only 8 years old, and I turned that man's life around. He was a sinking ship, and I turned him upright. And what did I get out of it? Anyone have a guess? I got a free watermelon. That's all I got for turning that man's life around. No, I'm not going to make fun of doctors tonight. In fact, I'm going to praise a doctor. In Hannibal, we had perhaps the best dentist in the United States, Dr. Tushmaker. Now, Dr. Tushmaker was a very innovative dentist. He was always at the forefront of dental inventions. One day, a man came into his office with a very sore tooth. He sat down, and Dr. Tushmaker examined him and said, "The tooth must come out." He put the pliers on the tooth and yanked, but the tooth didn't budge. But the man's left foot came up off the floor. Dr. Tushmaker said, "Why are you doing that?" The man said, "Because I can't help it." The doctor said, "Well, you go home. Come back in 1 week, and I'll take care of you." During that week, Dr. Tushmaker invented a new tool. It combined the properties of the hammer, the screwdriver, the pliers, the wedge, and the inclined plane. When the man came back in a week, Dr. Tushmaker applied the new tool to the tooth. And one crank, and the tooth came out, along with the man's entire skeleton. It seems the tooth, the root had gone all the way to the man's left big toe. And when it was extracted, his entire skeleton came out. They had to send the man home in a pillowcase. Dr. Tushmaker said he was sorry. He apologized to the widow. He said it was an accident. And it was an accident. Now, I understand that anytime I speak, people want me to give them maxims, things that you can take home with you, pass along to your friends, things that will help you live a better life. First of all, if someone wrongs you, don't strike out in anger. Wait your chance and hit them with a brick. Never tell a lie, except for practice. Leave lying to the professionals, like myself and Congress. Now, I understand there are some people here tonight, and I know it's a risky thing to do, but there are some people who wanted to ask questions. And I have a few names here. Is Carol Bohm here?
Right here.
Carol Bohm, yes.
Mr. Twain, I am very concerned. It seems like Americans are so divided now. Can you think of anything that we can all agree on?
We are a divided country, in my time and now. But there's one thing that we can all agree on. And no one in this room will be able to dispute what I'm about to say. We all love babies. They haven't done anything yet to make us angry. Just one baby is a yard full of trouble. Twins are a riot, and triplets are an insurrection. Now, I've often thought, what if the Almighty had decided to have all of us start as old people and then become young? Imagine all of us starting out with all the aches and pains of old age, and then slowly becoming younger, feeling those pains go away, and finally ending up as babies and being universally loved, unlike old people who most of us don't like. Did I answer your question?
Thank you.
Sandy Campbell?
Thank you, Mr. Twain. Everyone is concerned about inflation. Has that always been a problem?
Inflation has always been a problem. I can remember when I was a boy. One day I walked to the general store with a nickel in my pocket. A nickel. 20 minutes later, I walked out with a bag of candy, chewing tobacco, 4 cigars, toothpicks, and a comb. You couldn't do that today. There are cameras everywhere. Did I answer the question? David Lindquist.
Right over here. Let's talk about those cigars, Mr. Twain. Have you ever considered giving up smoking?
I considered giving up smoking for one day. That was the day I asked Olivia to marry me. My biggest fear was that she would ask me to quit smoking. That's the only fear I had. But luckily, she didn't ask. Now, I have certain limitations of my smoking. I only smoke 1 cigar at a time. I never smoke when I'm sleeping. I never fail to smoke when I'm awake. The cigars I buy are $40 a barrel. That includes the barrel. But I'm going to tell all of you a benefit of smoking that I don't think you've considered. Have you ever had a pain in the ass guest at your house who you couldn't get rid of? I assure you, Lining up a 5-cent cigar will clear the room. Now, it's a terrible thing to be taught to death. So I'm going to make way for the next speaker. Thank you very much.